Welcome to this wonderful little holiday let in Wales. I'm going to go out sketching today, open air, and I want to take you with me and show you some of the things that I do and give you some tips along the way. So starting with the big cliff on the left hand side of the image, and just drawing that down to the line of the sand, but not actually drawing the sand in at the moment. And you can see now that I'm going to start drawing that far cliff edge. It goes down at quite an angle towards Aberporth, as it happens, but down to the bottom right hand side of the sketch as we're working, using little strokes of line, not a continuous line there, just gently moving the image along. And now I'm working up the bottom of that cliff edge, again using little strokes, not a solid line. If you look really closely, and you have to look really closely, you can see the waves breaking against that side of the cliff. So that's the reason for not putting a solid line in. There's actually some cliffs breaking there. Now there's very handily some really nice dark bits and light bits in the far right part of the image, and that's going to help me to put in the rest of that cliff and give me some reference. So I'm drawing in that first of all, making quite some nice dark lines in the direction of where the cliffs are going. Nice sunny day as when we did this. Again, now working up the cliff edge, and bringing the cliff line down in the direction of, I assume it was granite, the way the granite or rock, whatever it was going, to give myself an indication of any brush strokes that I might want to make if I ever turn this into a proper painting. Just bringing the lines down, looking for the lights and darks. If you look in that cliff, you'll see there are quite a lot of darks, but there are also quite a lot of light areas, and I'm trying to mimic that in the way that I'm drawing. Perhaps not so easy to see in the picture, but when you're out and about, it's actually quite easy to pick up those light and dark areas and start to sort of picture your textures as you're drawing. Just using a 0.5 inch mechanical pen to use this to work this image. Working into the big cliff nearest to me now, again just a slight line there to indicate the crashing and breaking of waves, and then the seashore, the sand, a nice wiggly line across there, and I think I've now managed to establish all the sort of the major shapes that are in the image I'm trying to produce here. I'm going to work across the top of the far distant cliff top. Lots of trees and things going on, using the bottom bit of the cliff that I've drawn to help me locate where the bigger and smaller trees are, and if there are any gaps, just drawing them in, but generally coming across the image to the right hand side of the page. And it doesn't really matter if you get this bit wrong, but it's nice to try and get as much accurate detail into these images as you can. I'm going to put in the details of the field. As you can see, there's kind of a nice big grassy area that seems to be surrounded by trees, so I'm putting some of those in, and also some suggestion for those white houses, which I think are actually caravans, on the cliff top, nearer to Aberporth, in Wales. Like I say again, just little marks really. There's nothing in here that says house or screams caravan, but just little marks that I'm making as reference, to give you an impression that there's something happening on that hilltop. It's not a great big white snow scene. There is actually some trees in the image. Bringing down the line of trees now that marks the edge of the field, and there's some at the top there as well. And then adding some more trees there where the kind of foresty area is, there was rather on that cliff top. It's quite relaxing doing this. If you're worried about drawing outside, you can do what I did here. I was secluded in a spot well away from anyone, so nobody came across and sort of asked me any questions or anything. I'm sat against some rocks as well, which was quite nice, and also in the sun again, which was very nice. Not unusual for Wales, maybe, I don't know. I'm going to draw the cliff in now on the left hand side of the picture. I don't think you're going to see much of this as I'm kind of moving towards the left, but basically bringing the line down in the direction of trees, the cliff edge itself, just bringing the rock direction up to give myself a good indication of rocks coming out of the water and working their way up into that cliff edge. And I'm going to work my way across this piece of the image doing this. Quite a relaxing sort of free way of working, I guess, again, but I'm still trying to give myself a reference. I've got a picture, so if I wanted to work this up into a watercolour I could, but I've got an indication of where that cliff is. I'm just darkening up the bottom now because obviously the tide had just gone out, so the wall of the cliff was still a bit wet. Adding in some people on the beach now. Again, it's quite a nice thing to do, makes the beach look a bit more lived in, and just making, again, very limited marks here. Nothing special to say that's a person. It's just a small dot with a triangular body, and also there was a life buoy on the beach that I thought I'd draw in, and obviously a windbreak. You've got to have a windbreak on a beach, so we're putting that in. And if you notice, the windbreak is at a slight angle, and I'm going to try and mimic that in my drawing, trying to get the distances right. It's probably a little bit close to that life buoy, but all the same, trying to get it as accurate as I can. I think I was probably looking at it from a different angle to when the picture was taken. And on the end there was a man sat in a chair. Well, I wonder why people sit just outside their windbreaks. Well, if you've gone to the effort of putting a windbreak up, you ought to really sit behind it. But you often see that where people just sit to the side. And then finally, in this very quick sketch, I'm just putting some indications of some wave movement into the sea so that I know that this is actual sea. And there you go, my 10-minute sketch.